Welcome back to part 2 of Firefighters and Fire Trucks Getting Ice Cream with our guest Marc Davidson from Fairfax, Virginia. We're just pulling up to Handel's Ice Cream in Upland, California to grab some ice cream in milkshake form so we can cruise it back in this 1955 Crown Firecoach back to Red Helmet training to continue our great conversation with Marc Davidson on crew resource management, leadership, and all kinds of other great stuff that Marc is always passionate about. Stay tuned. Can I get a vanilla shake?
You got it.
And Marc, what would you like?
The coffee chocolate chip sounds really good.
You
Okay.
got it.
Perfect. That is it.
All right, I'll get that started for you guys.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so this is Handel's. Started in 1945, so it's even older than the rig
Older
we're
than the
driving
rig.
in 1955.
Nice.
Right?
I like it. I like it.
A lot of cool history here in Upland, and
Yeah.
you know, get to cruise through it and get ice
Very
cream
good.
from one of the most famous places around.
Yeah.
It's always good.
I'm looking at the picture of the Handle Pops and thinking, oh, maybe I should have got one of those.
It
I'm
would have
good with
been
the
fun to
shake.
watch you eat it while we're in the
Yeah,
engine all the
bouncing
way
down
back.
the road. No,
Yeah.
no, shake is good. As long as it has coffee in it, I'm a happy guy.
Well, that's the best part of the show. It's really firefighters, fire trucks, ice cream.
Yeah, this is what.
That's it.
What is not to like?
The best 3 things about the fire service all the way around. Firefighters, fire trucks, ice
Yeah.
cream.
Yeah,
they
no.
got snickerdoodle. Would have been awesome too.
Yeah, no, this is.
Oreo cheesecake.
I like the lineup on the flavors though. There were several choices there. I was like the mocha almond fudge ripple and.
She's probably shaming me right now, like, really, you got vanilla? You're going to waste my time to get vanilla, that's what you're getting? But I'm kind of a vanilla guy, I don't know what to tell you.
Nice, straight down the middle,
Yeah. We've had some of these ice cream places that we go to that literally, like, they're doing the cold rolled. And so there's another place down the street that we did the episode with Jeff Dill that does ice cream and then snow cone on top of that. So, like, you do like an orange sherbet, or like you mix like a vanilla and a cream soda kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool because they like literally layer snow cone on top of ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does the body process all that sugar and not just go into
But
shock?
it's so good.
Yeah.
The Paul Strong episode in Reno, it was like cake underneath and then ice cream on top of that. And I mean, some of these places it's pretty cool. The rigs we get to drive and some of the ice cream places we get to go to. So
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just the spectacular stuff. The rigs alone is worth the price of admission.
Right.
Yeah, the ice cream. Yeah, all in.
Yep.
All
So
in.
I have your vanilla milkshake and your coffee chocolate chip shake.
Awesome.
Green or pink?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm good.
Have a good day.
Thank you very
All right,
much. Have
bye-bye.
a good one.
All right. Let's go back to Red Helmet Training and hang out there.
Sounds good.
Finish talking about leadership and cool stuff like that.
I'm in.
All right. I should have just let you drive back. Then you're back.
Oh, don't tease me.
See the size of these straws?
Yeah, no, this is good. This will get the chocolate chunks through there, so I'm happy with that.
Battery off.
Oh yeah. Want to hold it?
Nope. Watch this.
Improvised cup holder. Nice.
All right. Turnout boot cup holder. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Brake. Drive.
Oh,
Here we go.
you drive, I drink.
Coffee ice cream? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're already getting it started.
Oh, this is so good with the chocolate in there. Oh, so good. Come on,
You're like, coffee chocolate shake.
Handles.
That sounds fantastic.
Got to come back here for sure.
Yeah. Well, you got to come to California first, and then you can go to Handles.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back.
It's been so much fun hanging out with you for the last couple of days, man.
Oh, this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Just talking with the students, and today the debrief on the Glendale event, and just to me that is what makes the whole teaching gig. Just being able to talk and make connections, and then quite literally to see somebody hit that light bulb moment, like, oh yeah. So that.
Yeah, Glendale Fire Department did an awesome job putting that after action review together. And
I mean, the way I view those kinds of things is that the ripples in the pond discussion is that will literally prevent. That's going to be
Right.
It's like teaching CPR. You never see the direct impact of that. You just hope and assume that somebody else uses it.
Right.
That event, I guarantee you, as people look at that and understand it and process it for what they're doing, it will quite literally save somebody's life on an event. And the way they did it, just to make it so relatable, let's break it down to the chunks. Just the production value itself is top notch.
Right.
And the fact that they were just, wide open with it.
So, for the people watching this, I guess we got to explain it. So this is actually the Carr Incident that Glendale, California Fire Department responded on. It was a pre-33 two-story apartment complex, center hallway with a basement. And the captain and the firefighter, some of those guys I know really well, fell through into the basement. They had a rig team activation. But one of the things you were teaching yesterday before that was crew resource management. And it was kind of cool to bring it into that fire with the students. We talked about that, right? The situational awareness piece and the communication, the decision making, so you teach a lot of crew resource management. What's some of your big, key points that you really want to make sure that you're driving home with CRM?
Yeah, well, it's funny, timing is everything, because I've always talked about crew resource management as a particular principle that small unit leaders need to adhere to. But starting 3 months ago, my department made a concerted effort in a training, continuing education element where we're tied in with our EMS training folks, where professional development, officer development's been teaching it to all our officers.
Right.
So over the last 2 months now, we have another month left, by the time it's all said and done, we're going to have this significant training effort, essentially reteaching our officers about crew resource management. So we've been able, I would never call myself a subject matter expert, but we've learned from those, and that includes Chief Tippett from Fallen Firefighters Foundation, used to be with Montgomery County. He actually initially came out and taught our members back in 2008, and we referred to the sessions we're doing now as a reintroduction. So over the last 3 months, starting 3 months ago when we identified the opportunity, we've just immersed ourselves in it. Our entire section, Chief Alvaro, Captain Evans, and myself are a section from my department.
Right.
And we've just immersed ourselves in it and then started teaching it. And then it's been awesome to then, as we teach it, get different discussion points and then incorporate that. We're on version 12 of what we've been teaching, just adapting in the conversations. And even the conversations we had today, I'm going to take some of those nuggets back. We'll be up to version 13 by next week.
Wow.
But, so yeah, we've taken that and said, hey, this is a leadership principle that all our members, particularly our officers, but it's our officers and our members. It's a followership and leadership principle. They all need to understand it. And when you look at the Carr Street event, just the one slice of the event where Truck 29, Captain Jernigan, is establishing the RIC. We call it RIT, but the RIT element, just that minute 30 that's in there, we've talked about the specific decisions he's made, how he employs it, that he establishes a trust that his crew has a voice and they can come back to him. He sends his engineer to do a lap, and he trusts that he's going to get good information and good knowledge, because he knows he can't see everything.
Right.
And if you're operating under a model of leadership where all the decisions come from me, I'm the only one that can process information, everybody has to come to me as a leader, that's difficult. And in that moment, he knows I can't get around this building, I can't see everything. You, go give me that information, bring it back to me. And to establish that trust, that open communications framework, manage the resources that he has, because he knows he's limited given the scope of the event.
Right.
That all ties in directly with what crew resource management is about in the fire service. And
that's the big thing, right? They always talk about in CRM, it's about task allocation, you got to disseminate that command and break it into smaller chunks so you keep away from that task overloaded,
Yes.
You have the strategic level, the tactical level, and the task level, And it seems like a lot of fires we run are strategic and task. There's no tactical person running that mid-level management with the division and group suit.
Right.
So when we go to a larger fire, we just get overloaded.
Yeah, and even within that tactical to task framework, in those two levels there, when that tactical leader gets into the task, and once they find themselves at that moment doing the thing, how can they possibly be the Overwatch? How can they possibly see everything when they're task saturated, task absorbed? And even that is a learning moment. And I get it. There are times, that's the art of leadership at that small unit level, is being able to switch between task and tactical. It's very fluid, because there are times where when you got a crew of 2, 3, or 4, you have to switch gears. The member's having a problem with the saw. I've got to step up. They got a kink on the line. Yeah, I got to clear the line. That's fine. You can jump into that task level, but to then stay in there means that tactically you're not sitting back and being that Overwatch for that crew. And it's that balance of being able to recognize, hey, I've got to step into task, but then as quickly as possible pull back, let me manage what I have. And that idea that sometimes you may not have, you don't always have all the resources you need. Right. That's the balance. That's the art of doing it effectively.
Well, I've always liked the Castros model of the second captain to that area is the working boss. You know, a lot of times we try to make that first captain on the second floor of this apartment complex the division supervisor, and it's like he's task level. His situational awareness sphere is very small. You know, but that second captain on the roof or the second captain on the floor, you know, they become that division or group supervisor and get that 50-foot view. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm fortunate in the way we operate in Northern Virginia. The second arriving engine, if the battalion chief isn't there, essentially picks up the command piece. And that's why I really so much appreciate how, for that Glendale event, Gorindo, as the first, with all the task saturation that he is truly experiencing, he's still got full command and situational awareness of that event in those opening shots. Now, having said that, I agree with you. Fundamentally, it would be better if the second arriving, who now has a little more time, distance, and shielding, to come in more objectively and say, hey, this is, let me run this your task level. I agree with you 100%. This is very nice.
Yeah,
I can imagine this, hopping it on a Friday, Saturday night. This has got to be awesome.
This is all pre-33, the stuff we're talking about right here, and a ton of it has basements and we did a lot of fire simulations based on a lot of these pre-33 buildings out here and balloon frame and you know, on this coast there's not a lot of places that even have pre-33, you know, cities that have that, so you'll go to a building construction class with fire service, and we'll be talking about pre-33, and there's a ton of firefighters that have never seen it.
Right. I mean, I didn't know what that term was until I saw the Glendale event. That's just not something we use.
Because out there, you're like, pre-33, that's everything. Out here.
This is an awesome view. I know it's clouded up right now, but just driving up and seeing those mountains like that, oh my gosh.
I'm going to try to get you back before it starts raining here.
Little Ranger sunshine, it's all good.
So the funny thing is we always, you know, I've taught crew resource management for several years now, kind of like towards an everyone goes home model type of thing. And you know, a lot of people, like you said, they need a refresher, and there's people around that haven't even heard about it. And we got to continue to push that. The aviation industry figured it out. Like, look, 70% or whatever it is of your accidents are going to be human errors.
People make mistakes.
Right.
Good people make bad decisions all the time. And it's that one of the key talking points is, look, just because this comes from civilian aviation and your job is to, you know, drag hose and throw ladders and start IVs, they connect, they intersect, because the dynamic is exactly the same. Right. Time compressed, high risk, with outcomes that significantly could hurt or kill people. That's the civilian aviation model, but you know what? That's us. That's what we live in. So to not learn those lessons, or to look, again, just the same way I talk about applying the template or the model from the military, why would we not look at an industry which is aligned with what the same environment where they have to get it right 100% of the time. Right. Unfortunately, we have to get it right 100% of the time. And while there's no such thing as truly zero defect, we've got to work towards that. And all CRM does is say, here's a way to help whittle that down to give you a high percentage bet. Right. And why would we not accept that?
Well, it's funny when I teach CRM and you talk about that assertive stance and all that. Yeah. There's a great video of like John Wayne, like one of the old John Wayne movies, where he's like the co-pilot on the plane, and the pilot's like, "All right, we're gonna take it down, and let's go get it."
Yeah.
And the flight engineer is like, "Just give me a few more minutes, Captain." And the pilot's like, "I don't have time. We don't have time to wait anymore."
Yeah.
And the flight engineer's like, "Just give me a few more minutes." And John Wayne steps up and he goes, "Just give him a few more minutes." He goes, "I've already waited too long." And John Wayne like slaps him back and forth like twice. So I always talk about like, look, CRM doesn't mean just go smack the crap out of your fire chief. Like that's not what we're saying. There's that Todd Bishop assertive stance of, and this is what I see. You have to own it as an owned emotion, right? Like this is what I feel. This is what I'm offering to the table, right? You have to actually also have some type of plan B. You can't just come to the IC and go, "This isn't going to work." Yeah. You know, like, "Hey, it looks like the building's going to flash. Yeah. I think we need to pull out. What do you think?" And then get buy-in, right?
Yeah. And even that discussion, because some of our people push back, or when you had a discussion, well, hey, if things are happening real fast, I don't have time for a discussion. And I understand, again, the double G, discretionary and non-discretionary time is, what he talks about. I get it. There are times where you lack discretionary time. It's not there for you. But it does that 1, 5, 7 seconds that you invest in listening and considering the thing outweigh the potential risk of not. And if maybe those 7 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 second is invested on the front end, you're going to make it up on the back end because now nobody gets hurt or killed, or maybe you actually have a better way to achieve the solution to the problem.
Right.
And so, not every situation is the same, and to just blanket statement say there's never enough time or there's always enough time, no, it's always about what's in the middle. And it's that balance, it's always about the balance. That balance of understanding that, hey, what did you say? And processing that and saying, okay, right now I got you, but we got to move. Hey, you at least considered it. But to just put your hand up and say, like that pilot, no, I don't have time, Consider it. As long as we know you thought about it and then made your decision, you're still in charge. There's nothing wrong with that. So.
Well, it seems like the best incident commanders that I know are the ones that seem they can make that clock slow down.
Very much.
Yep. They don't get hurried. They don't get rushed, and them slowing down their voice and the incident tempo. If you set up the incident correctly, you're slowing down that incident tempo. You know, and it all drives everything from there.
Yeah, and see, I think that's an important point because that's where it ties in with the instinctive decision making, OODA loop, recognition prime decision making. That idea that if they have the experience and they know, or training, and that's the great equalizer. But at the point where they have that to make those decisions more quickly, because they know what success looks like, and they're the ones that now they don't sound like they're being chased by a bear. Like you say, they quite literally slow down the clock, and then that builds discretionary time. Because now instead of feeling like I'm rushing, I have 1 second, 3 seconds, 5 seconds to consider a thing, which may make the difference. So,
well, and that's one of those things that they talk about in crew resource management, that if you can avoid those errors, you don't have to focus on the guy not being able to start the chainsaw, The more proficient you are, the less task overload there is,
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about that because a lot of people perceive this discussion about CRM as a leadership skill, a soft skill. This is a marriage of an understanding of a leadership principle with the understanding that technical and tactical competence has to be displayed. You can't just go, I don't know what I'm doing, and just use this. You know, as a leader, you may have those moments where I don't have a basis to make a decision, and you turn to a member comes to you and says, hey, what about this? Great. If you're doing that all the time, that's an issue. Now that means that you don't know what you're doing. That's different. Whole different category.
That's certainly resource management and a whole different problem.
Yeah.
Now it's getting cold.
Huh?
It's getting cold now.
Yeah. You can feel it. Those poor roofers are about to have a bad day.
Yeah.
You can see they're like, oh, what do we do now, boss? Oh yeah, you can feel that. Yeah. Okay, so believe it or not, I'm going to tie this in with the CRM discussion. Part of what we talk about is in a decision-making environment, we talk about aviation back to the Wright brothers and World War I.
Okay.
Where part of their decision-making is based on understanding the environment they're in. And in that environment, they literally can feel the difference in air temperature. They can see they can look on either side and feel and see everything into this as far as the inputs into the decisions they have to make.
Right.
And we compare and contrast that to the modern airplane where it's completely encapsulated. Your inputs are now being interpreted through machines. You don't feel the air temperature, you don't feel the change in wind conditions, and it changes. So that increase in technology actually leads to an environment where you need more training. Because to fly a plane in the Wright brothers days, those are two guys who were bike guys. And they said, hey, let's give this flying thing a shot. How hard could it be?
Right.
You fast forward to a B-52, we couldn't bring them and say, hey, here are the keys, take this thing for a spin.
Right.
The level of training, as the technology moves up, the level of training you need to be successful in that environment rises exponentially. And then we make the analogy to our PPE. Completely encapsulated compared to back in the old days, right? Pull up your beard and shuffle in there, you feel the heat, you taste the smoke. Well, now we take all that sensory input away. You still have to make effective decisions. And what that means for our industry, our craft, is that the level of training you need to succeed goes up. Because if you're 150 feet in the structure, you'd better know fire dynamics, fire behavior, building construction, the limitations, pros and cons of your PPE, the SCBA, everything.
Thermal imaging cameras. That was brought up in the Carr Incident too. Very technical stuff that you're dealing with nowadays.
No, absolutely.
And I mean, the crazy thing is, it's the reason why we're in an open cab engine like this with no roof.
Right.
I mean, for years it was so the captain could literally visualize the building when he pulled up. They literally didn't want to put a roof on. Well, it's going to rain on us here soon. We'll figure out why they put roofs on.
Right. No, I was fortunate that my first truck company was still open for the bucket firefighters in back. And the first time it was 33 degrees, hard driving rain, and I'm back there like, why is this a good idea? Oh, you get out faster. I can go through I can open the door fairly quick. Time me, you know. I don't get this.
Yeah,
you know?
give me a door, give me a roof.
I love the tradition, and I love when the weather's nice. This is awesome.
Right.
As soon as it rains or snows, it's like, it's not as awesome.
Right. But it was all a situational awareness piece for this.
Yeah.
Apparently they couldn't look through the windshield and get the windshield survey, you know?
Absolutely.
And you'd see those old videos of like, you'd be pulling up in a rig like this on a fire and the captain would be standing up over the seal of the windshield, you know?
Right.
Giving a sign up on the radio, standing up over the window.
Good stuff. Until it's, 40-mile-an-hour wind and driving rain. And then how does that look? Yeah.
That's funny.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's clearly not a service station.
No, it's all historic. This is actually Route 66. The one that goes all the way across the country. So,
I did not know that.
yeah, this is part of Route 66 right here.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
There's definitely some parts of Route 66 in my county that are just desolate sand areas, but this is a really nice part of it.
Yeah.
You go farther down that way, they got like some of those old cheapy motels. And,
Oh, yeah.
You know, that used to be here when it was old San Diego City area. Yeah.
I remember when we would drive from PA to Jersey to visit my grandparents. It wasn't 66. It was I can't remember the route number, but part of the old route system. And little hot dog. We always go to the same hot dog stand just when we got to the Delaware State line, or the Delaware Gap is what it was called.
Right.
And just a little, once the interstates came through, then it was gone. But it was just that one moment of going to this little hot dog stand, you just pull off, and there it was.
Right. And that rings true for the fire service as well, right? We keep putting in the interstate, and we're going to forget about the history that built us like on the side of the road, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. That's why stuff like this to me is so awesome. Just to see the visible representation of what the history is, and see, okay, this is where this is where it came from. This is as you look at that history and look at the ring, it's like, how did they do that? And it's like, they made it happen. This is got a pump.
I got a
Got
raindrop.
wheels that get me there? Yeah, I got a couple. So is he going to be able to, what's he going to do to drive back?
Yeah. I'm glad he's my friend.
Yes.
I'll say that right now.
That's a
I
very
hope he
good
can
friend.
stay ahead of it. He is going that way, so I'm hoping he can stay ahead of it.
Gotcha. Can he pull into a firehouse and wait until it passes, or?
I don't know.
Yeah. Sure, if he came up to any firehouse, they'd beep, beep, beep. Hook the brother up. Get in here. Hell, they'd be happy to have him in there.
Yeah. I'm not trying to get it back as soon as we can here. Get it out of here.
No, absolutely.
So what year did you actually start the fire service?
Let me do the math here. That would have been 92.
Okay.
92. I was still in, but in the service, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do when I growed up. And basically, given the alignment of my resume, in either the house cleaning or food service industry, so. I cop or firefighter. Basically, those were the two fields, and I aligned everything. I remember doing this: the pros and cons of being a cop, pros and cons of being a firefighter, and what really tilted it was just the idea that a firefighter's world is very objective, very concrete, black and white. Cat's in the tree, get the cat out. Building's on fire, put the fire out. And that's what tilted it. So I wasn't sure. I didn't have nobody in my family, no history, no background other than as a kid seeing Squad 51 and Towering Inferno. That was like my benchmarks. That was it. So I started volunteering at the rescue squad off base, Jacksonville, North Carolina, and took an EMT class. And started on that side of it. It wasn't a fire department; it was a volunteer rescue squad. So just extrication. That was pretty much all they did. Just doing extrication. So just remember those experiences. And
now, are you from Virginia, or is that the last place that you got dropped off at a military?
Yeah. Well,
that's Jared Surgeon's story. He's from California.
Right. No, I know Jared. Yeah.
Jared was an explorer at the fire station I'm assigned to right now.
No kidding.
As a fire explorer.
Oh my God!
When he joined
a small world.
He joined the military, and then like the last stop was Virginia. That's where he got on.
Yeah. No, different story. I refer to myself as a child of the Mid-Atlantic. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. Mostly grew up in PA. Lived in Delaware. Lived in Jersey. Family family in Connecticut and New York, so just moved a lot.
Right.
So when I got out of the service, I had gotten married, and my wife was going to school still in Western Pennsylvania, so we moved out there to start the process out. And then she got a job in Washington, D.C., so we came down here, and then ended up moving into Maryland, basically about 30 miles from where I was born, you know, completely by accident, and lived there for a long while, and then started working in Fairfax, but I lived in Maryland, which is, you know, right across the border.
Yeah.
And did that for almost 20, I've been on the job now 25 plus years, so 22 years, 21, 22 years of that. We lived in Maryland, but then we decided to move down to Virginia for several reasons, and so now we're there. So no, like, hey, that's where you ended up. It's been a long, I've covered basically everything between Virginia and Connecticut. I've probably lived in that state, any one of those states over time.
Well, like we were talking about the other day, like states out in your area are smaller than my entire county is.
Yeah.
That I cover with our fire department.
When you gave me that perspective of 16,000 square miles, that's wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
And then just seeing that your first due has mountains in it, like not up to the mountains, and then on the other side, and you got mountains and desert and city and just everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you on your toes.
Oh, you could have a whole career here. Your resume for your career here would be, I mean, just everything. Structural, rescue, wildland, everything. That would be amazing.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, let's go finish up this talk inside Red Helmet here and get it moving along.
Let's do it.
Give them a shake. The ice cream and the fire truck part.
I'm still in on the drive. Oh, where you go?
I don't know.
What's happening?
We got to get a picture with me and him in front of this thing, and then we got to get Rick on the road before it starts raining.
Yeah.
So,
dude, this is awesome.
Pictures,
Thank you very much.
GoPro's off.
That's a once in a lifetime experience. That's just incredible.
I don't want to take those with me. Well, I'm going to try to get you out of here before you drive back in the rain here. Well, originally, like I told him, like, hey, can you come out earlier? I'm going to try to get ahead of the rain. He goes, I've driven that thing in the rain. Don't be a bitch. He's like, I got a turnout coat and helmet you guys can wear.
That's funny.